Some people live their dreams. Some people close their eyes. Some people's destiny sometimes passes by. There are no guarantees. There are no alibis. That's how our love must be. And please don't ask me why. It takes some time. God knows how long. And I know that I can't forget as soon as my heart stops breaking, anticipating. Soon as forever is through, I'll be over you. That's just a big fat lie. I will never be over silver. Do you know why? Because silver is the rally you never sell. I'm not saying you're not going to sell silver. I'm not saying you're not going to trade it. I'm saying it's going to be the last trade we ever make. Guys, it's going to be the last trade we ever make. Gold is a great metal. It's a great trade. It is a great store of wealth. But it is overvalued compared to silver, which is undervalued. It's so undervalued. You guys know this. I mean, look today. We got down into the 14s again. We are 40 years off of the $50 high that the Hunt brothers got stuck with. Well, they didn't get stuck with. They had to sell, short sell, back in 1980. So 40 years ago, the price of silver got up to $50.50. Do you guys know that? I know a lot of you stackers have to know that. All right. Adjusted for inflation today, it's probably somewhere around $630 an ounce if we were to adjust from that 1980 high. Gold has gone up 2.4 times or 2.5 times since that high of $850 back in 1980. It's gone up 2.5 times. Silver's gone down 2 times. Back down to 15 since then. It just doesn't make any sense unless you have agencies and outfits and commodities exchanges that are actively working to keep the price of silver suppressed, because after all, silver's not important, right? I mean, it's not important enough for the U.S. Assay Office to get some minted from the U.S. Strategic Stockpile of silver back in 1980 to mint these coins in 1981, right? It's not that important. Silver can't be that important, right? It can't be important enough to mint on the back of the coins 1 troy ounce or 31.1 grams, 3/9 fine silver trade unit with this nice design on it, right? Is that a silver eagle? That's okay. Silver's not important. I had a commenter tell me, it says, hey, you need to diversify into gold. Silver is not that rare. It's a byproduct of other metals, which I agree. Silver is a byproduct of mining for other metals. There are some pure silver mines. I think you have Peru, Chile, and Mexico, and Argentina, which I think together comprise about 40% of the world's mining capacity for silver. And those are pure silver mines down in those areas. And then the other mines are copper mines and lead mines and even some gold mines that produce some silver. But there's plenty of pure gold mines. And guys, we're not going to get into the weeds with this, but if you had any idea how much gold is at Chocolate Mountain down in the Grand Canyon, it would blow your brain pan. Now, we're going to go ahead and read a little excerpt from the U.S. Assay Office, and we're going to figure out here why it's so important, okay, and what it had to do with the big push in 1981 to get silver out onto the market. I think we've had this story before, but let's go over it again. You know, just it's always a good read. It's always a good thing to re-reference to understand why we're here stacking today and why silver's so important. All right, I'm trying not to mess this up. So, why is the U.S. Assay Office relevant? Because in 1980, the U.S. Strategic Stockpile of 165 million ounces of silver was thrust into the silver market to bring the prices down after the Hunt brothers were forced out of the silver market, okay? For many years, the Hunt brothers were going around and buying as much silver as they could because they realized that banks were interested in gold, but nobody was interested in silver. So William and Nelson Hunt, they went to every place they could buy silver, and then they got into buying the futures, the trading futures for silver, the futures contracts, right? And that's where they got in trouble. If they had just stuck with the physical, they could have probably, cornered the silver market, but they didn't do that. They went after the futures contracts too, and they got the Saudis involved, and they got some other people involved because they figured, it's better if a handful of us corner this sucker than us getting eaten alive trying to do it just the two of us, all right? But because they bought those future contracts, the CFTC, which is the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, they were able to hem the Hunt brothers up with a rule they pulled out of thin air. It didn't even have a name for it. It was called Rule Number 7. Okay? And it basically restricted the selling of any futures contracts, okay? And you could only buy. Well, think about it. If you're long silver, like Silver 5150, I am long silver. But what if somebody came to me and says, well, we're going to prohibit the sales of silver. Nobody that owns silver can sell it. You can only buy it. You'd be like, what? But that doesn't take effect until midnight. So if you want to sell, you better sell now. Well, at that point, whether you can find buyers or not, you dump as much as you can. And it takes time to do that. And by the way, if you have enough silver like the Hunt brothers did, it'll actually drive the price down. You start selling like crazy. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds a lot like the COMEX and the paper contracts they sell into the market every day to keep the price of silver down to $15. But that's a different story. Yes, the price will come down. You could actually affect the price of silver if you sell too much into the market like that. And so they ended up taking a huge loss. They came up on lawsuits. It was horrible. All right. So in any case, once the Hunt brothers had all their silver sold back into the market, or sold back, to the strategic silver stockpile, because the market itself, people weren't actually buying it. Nobody wanted to buy it. They had no sellers. They had no buyers. They had to end up selling it pretty much to the government. And that's how we got a lot back into the strategic stockpile. Okay, fine. Now that's done. So what do? The price of silver is only down to $37. You got to get it down even further. So the strategic stockpile, the U.S. Strategic Stockpile Office, they decided to just flood the open market with silver, 165 million ounces from the U.S. Strategic Stockpile. And of course, the U.S. Assay Office is right there going, well, hey, we want a piece of this action. And, we want to make something official. And of course, the government didn't mind that at all. They had not started the American Silver Eagle program, guys, by then. They were doing Eisenhower dollars, I think. And they'd had some old Franklin dollars, and they were doing some other types of stuff. They had done peace dollars before that. But the Eisenhower dollars weren't going to fit the bill of the 31.1. Let's get over here. Let's see what we got. No, right here. Okay. The 31 cannot operate the camera today. 31.1 grams, 3/9 fine silver. Those coins coming from the U.S. Mint, they were like 0.734%. And so those were different. Those are for circulation. These were just for the silver market and for trading, not for spending, which is why they were minted by the U.S. Assay Office, because they were not an official treasury office. So you couldn't actually use them as money, but you could use them to trade. That's what I call trade units. Anyway, I digress. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about Americans who at the time saw that there was no interest in silver, decided to make a move on silver, and suddenly had probably 4 or 5 different government agencies after them to take them down because silver's not important. I'm being facetious. Of course silver's important. But you can't let people know that. The Hunts knew that. The Hunt brothers knew that. And so they went after the silver. And then, of course, the government felt compelled to stop them because they were going to have the silver controlled, under their control, and the price is going to go up until they decide it wasn't going to go up. Who does that sound like? Price is going to go down until they decide it's not going to go down. That sounds like a COMEX. So the Hunt brothers, they were about to put the kibosh on the COMEX and put the kibosh on the government manipulation, years and years of manipulation, and they got stopped in their tracks, and they ended up broke, I think, if I'm not mistaken. All right? But like I said, you've got those out there that say silver is not, rare. Okay, it's just a byproduct of other metals or other mining. And I'm sorry, guys, it is rare. Silver does a tremendous amount of stuff industrially. It functions as money. Gold can function industrially too. You can use gold in electronics. You can use gold in, some of these medical, applications and stuff. But gold is not as good a conductor of certain types of energies. And it's not a disinfectant either. Gold is indestructible. You could put gold in the heart of a sun and, somehow eject it from the sun and it's going to be liquefied, but it's still going to be gold. It is indestructible. So it is perfect as money. Gold is perfect as money and nothing else. J.P. Morgan. All right. But silver has all these applications, and I mean, let's be honest. It has been suppressed for over 100 years, right? And the powers that be they don't want people knowing its true potential. It has medical uses, it has industrial uses, and it's definitely a monetary metal, right? Now, what if silver turns out, to be required for a new vaccine to deal with this COVID-19, right? What if it becomes the basis of a vaccine? Okay. How about a disinfectant coupled with, say, vitamin C to disinfect certain areas and stuff on a wide scale? Or maybe it's going to be like a home, cleaner or something like that. And they decided to use silver for that, right? Or how about a new silver age where damn near everything is silver plated because antiviral is the new trend? All right. I mean, we had a time when we had silverware and all that, right? But the thing is, now we have to have antibacterial or antiviral capability in a lot of things we normally didn't have to before. Imagine restaurants. Restaurants, they're going to want silver-plated stuff. And, they're going to, have to have it in a way to where people can't just run off with their things. But, I mean, silver is going to become so important. Now, I always make the analogy. I go, out into the Cookbirdville where I talk about the space-based solar farming. And, of course, solar panels need silver. But it costs money to make those. It costs money to produce those, and it costs money to run an operation out in space. Well, guess what? Silver fits both bills. Okay? And I can tell you right now, speaking of space-based solar farming, I think this new economy we're going to come out of, guys, is going to be one that's more sci-fi than earthly. I think we're going to start looking out into space a lot heavier. Trump says there's a space force. Well, I don't know about that. There might be a space, there might be a moon base somewhere. But in any case, I think if you're holding silver, not only are you going to have the money, but you're going to have the materials for any future endeavors that are out there. I know that they're talking about making platinum coins, and I know that rhodium and palladium and platinum, gold, they're very rare too, and they're very precious also. But I'm telling you right now, in terms of returning your money to you, the money you invested in silver, and being part of this new future that's going to require antiviral, disinfectant, new technology, all kinds of crazy sciences and conductivity and whatnot, and new money, right? Silver's going to be that. It's going to be that material. It's going to be that asset to hold. Guys, stack every ounce you can. Now, right here, I don't even know how many ounces this is. So this is probably about 30 ounces of U.S. Assay Office silver. I can tell you right now, whenever I saw these online, I cobbled together every penny I had, and I bought every single one I could. I've got rolls of these at the depository right now. These I keep out, for the channel and, kind of show off and stuff to friends. And, every once in a while, if a kid does something really awesome, I will bless them with one of these. Or if it's Christmas and my nephews, they impress me somehow, they will get one of these. This is a guy's coin, by the way. This is not a girl's coin. Girl's coin is, it's really sweet. It's even sweeter than this, Morgan design right here. But real quick, as I'm sitting here drifting off into, I wish this and I wish that land, for future technology, understand that in 1981, they minted these coins after the 1980 high because they wanted to get the price down from $50.50. See, all these things correlate time-wise. But then they also had other mints that were buying silver, and they were minting all kinds of crazy stuff too. And I mean, like this one right here. Let's see, who is this from? Can't get the camera zeroed there. So this one here, 1 troy ounce, 31.1 grams. This is a silver trade unit. It's 3/9 fine silver, but on the other side, this is not a U.S. Assay Office trade unit. It is from some mint that is not identified. We have no idea. It could be, Golden State. It could be anybody. All right. That minted this. But let's see, is there a year on here? Well, no, there's no year on that one. I don't think. Let's take a look. Nope, I don't see a year on that one. But if you go down to this Monex coin, right? You guys remember Monex off of TV, right? Monex gold and silver. Make sure you buy your gold and get your silver for free. Monex. Okay, so this here is a Monex round. Okay, let's see if we can get in there on that. I like this camera. It's doing pretty good. 1 ounce troy. Silver Eagle. And they call these Silver Eagles. They got some balls. Oh, wait. Silver Eagles weren't out yet. So these are like the original Silver Eagles, right? The OSEs. And then down here it says Monex International Limited, right? Okay. And let's see if we can get a year on that. And that year there is 1982. So you got 1980 highs, you got 1981 U.S. assay office coins, right? And then you got 1982 private minted coins, all around that era. And guys, there you guys know because I've seen some of the stuff. Silver Joker, all these guys, you guys have got random rounds from around the 1980 era, right around that timeline. And that was during that time when the United States Strategic Stockpile, the 165 million ounces was dumped into the market, and everybody was grabbing silver and minting their name and stuff on it and getting their mint on it and getting it out to where people could buy it. Because you can only buy privately. And they weren't Silver Eagles, like I said. I don't even think there were Maples back then, not in 1980. So this is what people had to do. This is what they had to do to own silver. But even then, it was like a super secret club. A lot of people there weren't stackers back then. I mean, there were, there's like your Ron Pauls and your David Morgans and your Ted Butlers and stuff. But, I mean, as far as regular people, yeah, a lot of regular people weren't, purchasing silver at that time. And in fact, I don't think you could buy gold until around that time as well, unless you got Cougarons, on the gray market. So anyway, this is a fun little romp through history, man, and a romp to understand that silver is important. But guys, for the life of me, I can't put it all together. I mean, I know there's been silver manipulation for the last 140 years. I know there was the opium wars, between China. Well, basically where the British had, had bought everything from China and spent their silver over in China. And then they introduced drugs into China in the 1800s, and the Chinese used silver to pay for it, so they got their silver back, playing dirty. I tell you, man, there's some dirty stuff going on. We're not going to get in the weeds with that. But the thing is, I can't put it all together. Why is it so important that they keep the price of silver so low? I mean, I can understand 35, but 15? I don't get it. And sure enough, here goes, Scotiabank, they're out of the silver fixing game. And of course, Deutsche Bank went out of the silver fixing game about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then JP Morgan recently announced that they're no longer in the silver fixing game. They're not even acquiring physical silver anymore. They got over 1 billion ounces. And so it's just turning into this, it's coalescing into this event. And I can't put my fingers on how the event's going to look, how it's going to manifest. What are the warning signs? What are the prices that we're going to see, or the action we're going to see in the comics, or the open market, or maybe on the retailers? Maybe this, maybe the premiums will go up to like $20, $30, and that'll be our signal to say, hey, it's time to stop buying, get ready to sell, because it's going to be a seller's market, or whether they're going to lease it, or they're going to roll $1 over and start with something else. I don't know. I know it's very exciting. I know I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm certainly glad to be a part of this history. Guys, if you see these rounds anywhere, minted from the U.S. Strategic Stockpile of silver at U.S. Assay Office in San Francisco, 1981, grab them. And real quick, just grab the rounds. Because if you try to get the bars, they've got 1 ounce, 5 ounce, and 10 ounce bars. Those things are twice the price of anything the round's going to run you. Rounds are you can probably get these for like 25 to 27. The 1 ounce bar is going to run you $50+. The 5 ounce bar is going to run you $200. And strangely enough, the 10 ounce bars that have the same markings on them as these rounds are only going to run you between $250 and $300, which is still pretty damn high. But it's because of their historical significance. I can't even imagine how these are going to be used. I can't even imagine how I'm going to use these. Maybe we'll be able to use them to barter for, premium real estate that the federal government owns. They decide they want to get back into having the strategic stockpile of silver built back up again, and they're going to start, certain amount of ounces for, maybe acre and land by Yosemite. This is what we do at the Silver 5150 channel. Hey, somebody called me stupid the other day. I don't care. You can go to any channel you want, and we can hear and talk about rationality. We can talk about, being measured and level-headed and stuff like that. But this is the channel of irrational exuberance. It is Silver 5150 for a reason. There's silver, right? And then there's 5150 that says, man, we're going to be chartering private jets. We're going to be purchasing the top 3 floors of the Wynn Hotel. And we're going to be having big parties and stuff out in the Grand Canyon. All that. Because I believe that is a future that nobody can actually imagine if you have this kind of wealth in your hand. And I think I've talked enough. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Chat amongst yourselves. But the question remains, what is this leading up to? Why are we stacking silver? What can we expect? It's got to be something big. I know it's got to be something big. I just can't put my finger on it because I can't put it all together. But I know you guys can. And we'll talk to you next time.